welcome back. Well, we have the security update with Tim Moy, and then we also have a guest, and her name is Grace Stencil, and she is with the Ham Radio Club, right?
That's correct.
Well, welcome. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about how safety and security goes sort of hand in hand, no pun intended. But so let's start with you, Tim. You've got to talk about an expo that's coming up.
We do. Matter of fact, it's kind of interesting how this came about. Grace, through the Ham Radio Operators Club, approached us and our disaster preparedness team and said, hey, I've got an idea for you. I made contact with this individual, and we'd like to bring disaster preparedness in and see if the ham radios with disaster preparedness can partner in an expo. Grace, what else can you tell us about that?
Well, I can tell you, I'll be happy to tell you about the radio club, if I may.
Yeah.
We have 50 licensed amateur radio operators in our club. And even though we're a club, our main concern is disaster preparedness. And so if there is a major disaster and normal communication procedures go down, like cell phone towers and things like that, amateur radio operators may be our only source of communication during an emergency.
So does each person have their own radio in their home?
We have more than one radio in our home.
Oh.
And we have portable radios, and some of us have stationary radios, so we can deal either outside our homes or in our homes, either way.
So may I ask, how do you communicate with security when you do that?
Yeah, great question. So the ham radios are a part of our disaster preparedness task force. So in the event of a major disaster, and let's say our first responders are not available, you know, the fire and sheriff are elsewhere, and our power is down, what have you, our ham radio operators will be situated throughout the community. As a matter of fact, they're even attached to our emergency operations center.
Oh.
So yeah, so we've got a full protocol in place to use our ham radio operators with our good neighbor captains who are bringing reports in for potential damage and injuries. So Grace and her team do an incredible job for us, and they are available. They live here in the village. You know, and they're just available for any type of emergency response.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes,
that's great.
And we take it very seriously, of course. Even though we're a club and we have a good time, we take the emergency training very seriously. And every Thursday, we go through what we call a radio net. So we practice on our radios, communicating with each member to make sure our equipment is working and that we are doing the proper procedures. That's done every week, every Thursday. We do that. We work, of course, in concert with Tim's Disaster Preparedness Task Force, the building captain, the Good Neighbor building captains, as well as emergency groups throughout Orange County.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
so
outside of yes, we have the capability of doing that. We also participate in the Great California Shakeout, and we participate with the disaster preparedness team with all their programs. So our goal for the club is to heighten community awareness, and I believe that the Earthquake Expo will help achieve that goal. So I personally would like to ask those who are watching to join us on September 14th.
Okay, well, let's jump right to that and talk about what you guys have there.
Good.
And are you going to have examples? Are you going to have the radios there so people can see them, maybe?
Sure.
That's a great.
I've just committed now, haven't I?
I think it's a great idea.
I've just committed you to that. Sorry.
No, it's a perfect idea. We have to turn them off, though. I think it'll be very noisy.
Well, just to actually show people, because I don't know many people.
You know,
what
let
they
me
look
just
like.
mention that in Clubhouse 1, we actually have a radio room where all of our radio equipment is there, our antennas and things, and I would like to invite people to stop by.
All right, excellent.
Clubhouse 1.
Right, there you go.
All right, so the expo is on Saturday, September 14th, and what are some of the things that are going to be there?
Right, so I mean, the timing couldn't be more better. Let's take a look at what took place back on July 4th and 5th, right? We had the Ridge Crest earthquakes, 6.4, I think it was a 7.1. They rattled that area about 200 miles north of here that we felt here in the village. Throughout Southern California. So in this expo, we want to just really promote community awareness, preparedness, response. We've got some great presenters. We've got a gentleman by the name of Mark Benthian, and he is he's an earthquake expert through the University of Southern California. He's with the the Earthquake Country Alliance. So this guy's got some great background, and of course we're going to bring in somebody from Donna Boston's team, if not Donna Boston herself. She is our emergency manager for the County of Orange. So if we have a major disaster here in Orange County, our Emergency Operations Center for the entire county activates, and the person who coordinates that is Donna Boston.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, she is our go-to gal for any type of emergency response here in the county. And why that is important to us here in the village is maintain that relationship with her, because we know that they're going to be prioritizing resources at the county level. We just don't want her to forget about Laguna Woods Village, right? And some of our needs and very specific needs with our elderly community here.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, I mean, for people to come out and meet her might give them some comfort knowing that she's very capable, like you said, and making sure that they don't forget about you.
Absolutely, and we're going to have some tables here as well. Mark has got something set up. I think it is a passport, right?
It's a passport.
Each person is going to get a passport, and then they go from table to table, get their passport stamped, and each table is going to provide some type of information that we can learn from to better prepare for an earthquake. And then that passport goes into, of course, the raffle.
Oh, there's a raffle.
There's a raffle.
Oh, nice.
Right.
What's the big prize?
It's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret. Okay.
So disaster preparedness will bring a few items.
Oh, good.
And then
they have their big backpacks.
And then
and
each
stuff.
table vendor there as well will be bringing some items to have in the raffle. But some basic things. How to secure your space, how to plan to be safe, organizing for disaster, supplies, minimizing financial hardship, what to do afterwards. Are there some insurances that you should take a look at? Here in the village, that's somewhat unique as well, depending on which mutual you live in.
Okay.
And then reconnecting, restoring after an earthquake. And it's just not here. It's how do you reconnect with your family? How do you? Who are your emergency contacts? And we thought about all those things. So they're going to open our eyes up a little bit. So we're pretty excited about that. And then we've got to talk about that earthquake cottage.
Oh yeah, there's an earthquake cottage. I saw this. I'm like, what is that?
Right.
I'm going to go in there and have a heart attack.
No, not exactly. It's called a quake cottage, and it's a trailer that you can go into, and I think they've got these comfortable chairs you're not going to fall out of, and it's going to simulate an 8.0. Now,
who wants to do that?
I do.
You do?
I do too. I'm going to tell you, I want to go on that.
I don't know, man. That 6.1 in Northridge was enough for me in the 70s. Who needs to go in an 801? But nonetheless, that'll be fun to just kind of get the feel for it,
It
right?
will. Yeah, I think a lot of people will be interested. I got a lot of calls where people have never experienced an earthquake, which is amazing sometimes living in California. But they're all excited about going into that quake cottage.
So I think that quake cottage is going to promote the fact how important it is to secure your manor. Bookshelves, what have you, that could easily fall. You've got to be able to secure those type of things and similar objects.
And some of these large TVs, that they may not be mounted on the wall. They're sitting on a thing, but they're just going to topple over. So you have to be careful.
All your trophies.
Right. We've talked about
all of my Emmys.
There you go.
Yes.
We've talked about identifying a safe location. For those who cannot get under a table or a desk, we want them to take or identify a safe location in their manor where there's no bookshelves, there's no windows, there's no pictures that could fall on them. You can't get under a desk or a table. You want to secure yourself in an area where you're least likely to get harmed.
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha. And then one last thing you have is a documentary. Which year is this for the Northridge one?
Right. It'd be the most recent one. That was the most devastating one. I forget the exact year that was.
Okay.
But
so where do they see that?
At
this event.
Right.
Oh, I see.
And so they did a documentary on that, along with many of the victims' interviews, the first responder interviews. I think that's going to be very informative for our residents to take a deeper dive into the Northridge incident. Maybe they can take away some nuggets. Hey, if that were to ever happen here,
It could.
how am I going to survive?
Exactly.
Right.
And you don't ever know. You just never know. We can't
No.
predict these things and where it's going to be and where the epicenter is going to be.
And
so.
the one nice thing about this documentary is it talks more about the heroes that were not first responders. It
Okay.
discusses the first responders, but the people that are around you that might come up to your place and save you and get you out,
Right.
help you. And I think that's kind
Yeah.
of, it was incredible to
Right.
see that
Neighbors
part of
helping
it.
neighbors.
Grace,
for
that's
sure.
a
Yes.
great point. So here we are, also trying to promote our good neighbor captains. You know, neighbors who would step up, don a vest in the event of an emergency, check on their neighbors, fill out that form, get it to our emergency operations center. If you're interested in something like that, you know, we would encourage you to get a hold of security, and we'll get you signed up.
Good. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you both so much. It's very nice to have you on. Very nice to meet you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And don't forget to bring the radio.
There you go.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
to see
you.
you
Good
again.
seeing
Thank you
Lisa.
very much.
All right. And remember that event is on September 14th, and it sounds like it'll be pretty good. You guys can check out an 8.0 earthquake. We'll be right back.